it never gets old, does it? Seeing those incredible achievements in space, astronauts heading up and coming back.
It really is something else.
And what really stuck with me recently, was NASA astronaut Butch Wilmore returning to Earth after like a whopping 286 days in orbit.
Oh, wow.
It was his daughter, Darren, waiting for him back here. That's what grabbed me.
The human side of these stories, right?
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, we're not getting bogged down in like rocket science, mission objectives.
Right.
We are focusing on Darren. Like, what was that experience like for her? And luckily, there's this news article that really brings her preparations and reactions like to life.
Fantastic.
And it's like a window into what it means for families when a loved one is literally off the planet. Now, why should you care?
Yeah.
Well, it's a chance to see the human side of these massive science to these things and, maybe even have a few haha moments through her eyes.
Totally. Because, sometimes we can get lost in the impressiveness of the technology and, the fact that we're sending people to space.
Yeah.
But forgetting that every single one of these missions has this whole network of people down here who are, emotionally invested and going through so much.
Right. The families.
Exactly.
What are they going through and how does it affect them? And, what can we learn from their experiences?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's dive in. The article talks about how Darren was getting ready for her dad's return. And the first thing that struck me was she was going to bake him his favorite pecan pie. Like, come on.
That's so sweet.
After almost 10 months apart,
Yeah.
It's such a simple gesture, but like so powerful,
I know, it really speaks to that. Like, they need to kind of nurture and care for someone you've missed for so long.
Yeah.
And to provide them with that sense of comfort and familiarity after such a long time away. It's beautiful.
And it wasn't just the pie. She
Yeah.
also made a list, like, of all the things they love doing together.
Oh, yeah.
You can picture her, right? Sitting down, making this list, remembering all those little moments that they missed and can't wait to do again. And it's those small things, those everyday connections that really hit home.
Absolutely. I think that list is such a powerful symbol of that anticipation and longing for those shared experiences.
Yeah.
And it really underscores how important those routines and rituals are in maintaining those bonds, especially after such a significant separation.
Now, the article also gets into the timeline, and this is important.
Okay.
So Bush Wilmore was supposed to be on like an 8-day mission with Sunita Williams on Boeing's Starliner.
Right.
But get this, they were up there for 286 days.
Whoa. Wait, what happened?
Technical issues.
Oh, wow. So their short little trip turned into like a 9-month odyssey?
Yeah, crazy, right?
That's wild. It really just hits home the fact that space travel, as much as we plan for it,
Right.
it's still so unpredictable.
Totally.
And you can't account for everything.
No.
And it makes you think about those families, right, who are back here thinking, oh, it's just going to be a week, and then suddenly it's 9 months. Like, how do you even prepare for that emotionally?
I know.
It's intense.
So good news is they did return safely on March 19th in, a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule.
Okay.
Which is basically, the vehicle they used to get back, built by the, private space company, SpaceX.
Mm-hmm.
They landed at, get this, 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Talk about an early wake-up call.
That's dedication.
And now they are going through a 45-day rehabilitation program to get used to gravity again.
Yeah, you got to get your Earth legs back.
Right. And, that really highlights the impact of space travel on the body, especially when you're in that microgravity environment, which is basically, near weightlessness.
Right, and you're floating around for so long, your body kind of forgets how to, work against gravity.
Right, like how to walk and stand and
everything, yeah.
Just basic functions, really.
Fascinating. Really.
So going back to Darren.
Yeah.
Her online presence really gave this raw glimpse into what this whole thing was like for her. She posted this TikTok video announcing her dad's return, and she's just beaming, and says, "Hi, everyone. Welcome to the very final installment of My Dad is Stuck in Space because he's not anymore."
She's got that great sense of humor about it.
Right. And then she's like, "It's happening, guys. It's finally happening. I'm so happy and proud he has done such amazing work."
You could just hear the relief in her voice.
You can, right.
Just that weight has been lifted.
But, it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, of course not.
The article mentions that earlier on she was, mentally exhausted by all the delays and even said there was some negligence involved. And she admitted it was hard on the family, which makes sense, right? I mean, all that uncertainty and waiting.
Absolutely. It's got to be incredibly stressful not knowing when your loved one is coming back and feeling like, maybe things could have been handled differently.
Right.
It's tough.
It really highlights the emotional toll of this whole situation.
Definitely. And it also, I think, raises important questions about the support systems available to families
Right.
during these extended missions. What kind of resources are there for them to cope with that stress and uncertainty?
That's a good point.
And, how can we better support them?
So when it came to welcoming him home, their plans were actually pretty low-key.
Oh, really?
Yeah, instead of, some huge party, they
Right.
just had a small get-together at her uncle's house.
Oh, that's nice.
It seems like after everything, they just wanted some quiet family time.
That makes total sense. I
Yeah.
mean, who wouldn't after being separated for so long and going through all that stress? You
Exactly.
just want that familiar, comfortable environment to reconnect.
Yeah, no cameras, no crowds, just family.
Exactly. It really highlights the importance of prioritizing personal well-being and those close relationships after such an intense experience.
And here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Darren mentioned that her dad's going to go through all these tests and that he's, quote, still technically part of the experiment of human spaceflight.
Oh, wow. So even though he's back, the mission isn't really over.
Right.
It's like the research continues.
Yeah, they're still learning about, the long-term effects of space travel.
Right. How incredible is that? Like these astronauts are literally contributing to science just by existing, by being observed.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
It's amazing.
And then this part was amazing. Darren actually, pitched a movie about her dad's experience to Hollywood.
What? No way.
Yeah, she said, Hollywood, I believe a movie should happen. I believe a movie should happen. If you want to call me, I have ideas.
That is so cool. I love her enthusiasm.
I know, right?
It's like, this is a story that needs to be told.
And she even compared it to Apollo 13,
Wow.
saying her dad's story could be even better.
She's a great hype woman for her dad.
Talk about a proud daughter, right?
Absolutely. And it's heartwarming to see that level of admiration and support.
Now, the article also mentions briefly the reaction on social media, which was pretty much all positive.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people were really invested in this story.
People were excited, grateful for their safe return.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were commenting on how, thoughtful Darren is.
Oh, that's
It
sweet.
shows that this wasn't just a space event.
Right.
This was a story that people connected with on a personal level.
Yeah, it reminds us that behind these grand achievements in space, there are real people with real families and real emotion.
Exactly. So what does this all mean for you, the person listening right now?
Mm-hmm.
I think the main takeaway is that there's this really strong connection between the amazing stuff we're doing in space
Right.
and the lives of the people who are actually doing it, and their families.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that science and exploration, it's not just about equations and data.
Right.
It's about human stories.
Right.
About pushing boundaries and the sacrifices and triumphs that come with that, both for the individuals involved and for those who love and support them.
And that brings us to the bigger picture here. It shows that even the most advanced and technical things we do
Mm-hmm.
are really at their core human stories.
Yeah, because it's people who are driving these advancements, and it's their experiences, their passions, their relationships that fuel that progress.
Right. And it makes you think, right, with all the progress we're making in space travel,
Yeah.
how is this going to shape the lives of, future astronauts and their families? What other stories are out there, waiting to be told?
I know. It's exciting to think about, right, what new challenges and triumphs are on the horizon, and how will those experiences shape the human stories of space exploration for generations to come.
And that's something to think about the next time you see a big headline about space.
Totally.
There's always more to the story,
Absolutely.
There's always the human element.
Always.
And that's what makes it so fascinating, right?
Yeah, it really is.
It's not just about the science, it's about the people.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.
It's been a pleasure.